Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the nuts and bolts of communication.
Yeah.
How you speak, how you listen, how you basically show up in every conversation.
Yeah, and we're pulling from some really interesting sources, particularly the work of Jefferson Fisher, a trial lawyer.
Right. And what's so compelling is where he comes up with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not some academic theory.
No, not at all. He shares these super concise tips, often from short videos he actually makes in his car.
In his car, between court cases, client meetings. I mean, talk about real-world pressure testing.
Exactly. So this is advice that's, forged in actual high-stakes situations.
So our mission today is pretty ambitious. Distill that blueprint for mastering, well, pretty much every conversation. Because let's face it, for most of us, what we say is really the only way people get to know who we are.
That's the absolute core idea here. It's your ability to communicate is how you compress your whole self, your kindness, your smarts, your character into just the words people hear.
So if you want people to think you're kind,
You have to actually say kind things consciously. Your words become your identity to everyone else.
okay, so if words are that powerful, we absolutely have to tackle the tough stuff first. Conflict. It seems like the default mode is always trying to win the argument.
Right, that's the common trap. But Fisher argues, and I think it's spot on, that arguments aren't things you win. They're more like knots.
Knots.
Yeah, tangled knots you need to patiently unravel. Pulling harder just makes the knot tighter, right?
Yeah.
Real resolution comes from easing the tension, finding that shared understanding.
So anyone selling a win every argument book is...
Just selling you something. It misses the point entirely. It's not about victory, it's about connection, or at least clarity.
I think everyone knows that feeling, though, where the tension comes from. Like a frequency mismatch. You think you said something clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but the other person heard something completely different. That gap between sending and receiving, like tuning into different radio stations.
Happens all the time. Even, simple stuff like a comment at dinner that suddenly blows up. The source gives that example.
Yeah.
So, the key move when you feel that confusion or you feel attacked or misunderstood is to stop the defensive spiral right away.
But how? Without making it worse, without sounding like you're escalating.
You shift the focus from your intent to their reception. You pause, maybe take a breath, and ask them very directly but neutrally, "What did you hear me say just now?"
Ah, okay, so you're not saying that's not what I meant.
Exactly. You're bypassing that. You're making it about understanding their reality, what landed for them. It often reveals exactly where the communication wires got crossed.
I can see that. It forces them to check their own filters. But, in a heated moment, couldn't that sound a bit accusatory? Like you weren't listening properly?
Tone is everything, absolutely. And that actually links perfectly to the next point, avoiding the why trap.
The why trap.
Yeah. When you're feeling attacked or trying to understand something difficult, the absolute worst way to start is with why. Why did you say that? Why would you think that?
Because why immediately puts someone on the defensive. It implies they did something wrong.
Precisely. It demands justification. And the gut reaction is often just defensiveness, like, because I did. Or they just justify the feeling, not the thought process behind it.
So instead of why,
Use what? What was going through your head when that happened? Or what made you feel that way?
okay, what asks for the process, the story behind it? It feels more like curiosity than judgment.
Exactly. You're inviting them to sort of unpack it with you collaboratively. You're leaning in, not pointing a finger.
Okay, that's a big shift. Let's switch gears a bit, away from active arguments to delivering bad news, something most of us dread.
Oh, yeah. And the default is often to delay, to tiptoe, maybe use that classic sandwich
The
method.
compliment sandwich? Good thing, bad thing, good thing.
Yeah, ditch the sandwich, seriously. Almost everyone sees right through it. It feels insincere, and honestly, it just prolongs the anxiety for the person waiting for the other shoe to drop.
So just rip the Band-Aid off?
Pretty much. Lead with framing it, look, this might be difficult to hear, but then get straight to the point.
The source material makes a really strong claim here that being indirect, trying to soften the blow too much, is actually cruel, especially with people you care about. That feels backward. Why cruel?
Well, think about the underlying message when you soft pedal too much. You're essentially saying, I don't think you're strong enough to handle this.
You're treating them like they're fragile.
Right. You're communicating doubt in their resilience. So the alternative is what Fisher calls the confidence frame. Instead of doubt, you give them armor.
Armor. Okay, tell me more. How does that work?
You deliver the tough message directly, but you immediately follow it with a statement of confidence in them. Like, look, this isn't an easy conversation, but I'm telling you this directly because I know you can handle it, or I know you have big shoulders and you can process this.
So you're setting the expectation that they are capable.
Yes. And people tend to live up to the expectations you set for them. You're equipping them for the difficult information, not shielding them in a way that implies weakness.
It changes the whole dynamic. You're giving them the backpack for the tough journey, like you said. And related to that, I guess, is setting the frame before you even start the difficult talk.
Absolutely critical. Set a conversational frame. You need to know the destination before you start driving. Tell them how you want the conversation to end.
So not just wandering into it. An example.
Okay, using that dinner comment example again. Hey, I need to talk about that comment from last night. And look, where I want us to land after this chat is knowing this isn't something you'll bring up again in front of others. Can we agree to work towards that?
Wow, okay. That sets a very clear boundary and a goal right up front before things get too emotional.
It defines what you are talking about, and just as importantly, what you aren't. It keeps things focused.
Okay, let's talk about difficult people. You know, the ones you just maybe don't like or find consistently frustrating. Colleagues, family members.
Right. The advice here is the dislike neutrality rule.
Dislike neutrality.
Yeah.
Just because they behave poorly doesn't mean you have to. Don't let their lack of integrity compromise yours. Stick to the facts. Get in, get out.
Keep it transactional almost.
In a way, yes. Especially because other people are often watching, right? They're forming judgments about you, too. As the saying goes, don't argue with a fool. Onlookers might not be able to tell the difference.
That makes sense for professional settings. But what about when it gets personal? When someone makes that cutting remark about your weight or your job or, the classic still single?
The belittlement tactic. The key here is to rob them of their payoff.
Which is?
Seeing you react, getting that little jolt from upsetting you. So you deny them that immediate satisfaction. You make them repeat the insult.
Calmly, neutrally. I'm sorry, I need you to say that again.
Ooh. That forces them to actually voice it, clearly, a second time. Takes the spontaneous fun out of it for them, maybe.
Exactly. It puts a spotlight on the ugliness of the comment itself. It delays their dopamine hit.
Okay, playing devil's advocate here.
Right.
Won't that just make them double down? Or lie and say, oh, I was just kidding.
Maybe. If they repeat it, or even if they try to backtrack, you follow up with a question of intent. But not, why did you say that? Remember the why trap.
Right. Use what or did.
Precisely. Ask directly. Did you say that to hurt me? Or did you intend to embarrass me with that comment?
You're not asking for an apology.
Nope. You're turning the mirror back on them, forcing them to confront their own motive out loud. Most people, especially if others are around, will squirm. They'll likely backtrack or deny it, but you've shifted the power. You didn't take the bait. You maintained your standard.
You sucked the oxygen out of their little power play.
Okay.
And for just general disrespect, not necessarily a specific insult.
The power of silence. The controlled pause.
How long?
The suggestion is about 10 seconds. It feels like an eternity, but it creates critical distance. It stops you from reacting emotionally on their level.
And after the silence?
You state, calmly and firmly, that's below my standard for a response.
Oof. That's potent.
It flips the dynamic entirely. Their behavior is beneath you, not the other way around. You're setting your boundary without engaging in their negativity.
We should also touch on boundaries with loved ones, especially that really awkward situation where, say, a parent or partner is rude to service staff in public. Puts you in a horrible spot.
It does, and the advice is you have to act as their biggest mirror in that moment.
A mirror.
Reflect back the reality of their behavior. First, you be extra polite and gracious to the server or cashier, making it clear that is not your standard.
Counteracted immediately.
Yes. Then, later, or even quietly aside if appropriate, you set a firm boundary with your loved one. Something direct like, look, I find it really difficult when you speak to people that way. I actually can't come out with you if that tone continues.
That's tough, but necessary. You're showing them how they're being perceived, which they might genuinely not realize.
Exactly. You're doing it out of care, ultimately.
Okay, shifting now towards techniques for just general clarity and confidence. A big one is separating the person from the problem.
Yes. Crucial for any collaborative relationship, home or work. You objectify the issue so you can tackle it together as teammates, not opponents.
So instead of Your report was sloppy.
You'd say something like, okay, this report needs a few adjustments to really hit the mark. You're talking about the report, the object, not attacking the person who wrote it.
Makes sense. And at home, say the classic messy room scenario with a kid or partner.
Instead of the accusation, your room's a disaster, clean it up, you metaphorically pull up a chair next to them.
Okay.
And you frame it collaboratively. Hey, I see the room's still not quite tidy. What should we do about this? The mess is the problem you're both looking at together.
The we makes a huge difference. It's not you versus them anymore.
Totally changes the tone. And speaking of tone and clarity, the sources heavily emphasize brevity. Be a, well, not a waterfall. I have to admit, I can definitely be a waterfall sometimes when I get nervous.
Agrees. Oh, me too. You just keep talking, hoping eventually the right thing comes out.
Exactly. But it often comes from needing to feel believed, right? But the irony is, the more words you use to tell the truth, sometimes the more it can sound like you're hiding something, burying the lead.
Like Fisher in his car. He can't afford to be a waterfall in court.
Yeah.
Needs those sharp, clear points.
Precisely. People should be able to draw information from you, like from a well, not get blasted by an avalanche they have to dig through.
So how do we become more like a well, especially if anxiety makes us ramble?
Well, tying into that anxiety, there's a really powerful, simple physical trick. Let your breath be the first word you say.
Take that beat before you speak.
Just a tiny pause. Ground yourself. Anxious speakers often rush, right? They tumble into the sentence, maybe with apologies. Sorry, just quickly, I wanted to say.
Yeah, watering it down before you even start.
Exactly. That micropause, just to breathe in, signals calmness. It serves your message straight up. It instantly projects more confidence and authority.
I like that. A grounding breath as the starting gun. Okay, and for just general mingling, social anxiety, we need a better icebreaker than, how are you?
Definitely. How are you? Tends to pull people into the past, maybe negativity, or just gets a default fine.
So it's better.
Ask about the future. What are you most excited about today? Or what are you looking forward to this week?
Ah, that prompts positivity.
Usually, yeah. People generally enjoy talking about possibilities and good things coming up. It gets the conversation started on a much better foot.
Okay, let's bring it all together with intention. Aligning our words with who we want to be. The sources talk about setting a conversational goal and conversational values.
Right. The goal is simple. Where do you want the conversation to end up? What's the destination? Don't start talking till you know where you're landing.
And the values sound deeper.
The values are your internal rules of engagement. They're about how you choose to show up authentically, regardless of what the other person does. It's how you control your own response and don't get dragged down.
The examples given were really evocative. Like, if I can't be a bridge, be a lighthouse. How does that play out? Say I'm talking to, I don't know, Uncle Bob about something sensitive and he's getting worked up. How am I a lighthouse?
Okay, so a bridge connects, right? It requires both sides. A lighthouse doesn't connect. It stands firm, provides steady light, a fixed point in the storm.
So I don't engage with the emotional storm.
Exactly. Uncle Bob starts raising his voice, maybe throws an insult about your view. The lighthouse value means you don't get swept up. You might say calmly, I hear that you feel really strongly about that, Bob. My focus is more on mention a neutral fact or process. Maybe we can talk about that. You stay anchored. You provide light, not heat.
You refuse to be buffeted by their emotion. You're showing them who you are through your words, not just reacting.
Yes. Which ties right into that powerful question to ask yourself before walking into any situation. Who do my words say that I am? Or what do I want people saying about me after I leave this room? Then choose your words to match that person.
Align the words with the desired identity. And finally, there was that very specific tactical tip for projecting authority, especially at work. Using the word.
Direction.
Direction. Why is that word so effective?
It inherently implies leadership, guidance, control over the path forward. You use it to gently but firmly steer things back on course or establish your lead.
Okay, give me a scenario. Team meeting, it's going off the rails.
Someone's rambling or maybe taking things way off topic. You jump in, respectfully but clearly. I appreciate that perspective, Sarah, but I need to set the direction back to the main agenda item. Or if someone's maybe undermining a decision, Paul, I'm not comfortable with the direction this part of the conversation is taking. We need to focus on how we implement this, not relitigate the decision.
It's assertive without being aggressive.
Yeah.
Professional, decisive, puts you back in charge.
Instantly, without raising your voice or making it personal.
That is incredibly useful. Okay, wow, lots of ground covered. Before we finish, let's just quickly hammer home those absolute key takeaways for you listening.
Okay, number one. What you say is who you are. Your words literally create your identity for others. Choose them carefully.
2. Arguments are knots, not battles. Aim to unravel, not win. And that magic question, what did you hear me say?
3. Be direct, ditch the sandwich. Give people the armor of your confidence in them when delivering tough news.
4. Use silence strategically, that 10-second pause. And phrases like, that's below my standard for a response to handle disrespect and control your own behavior.
And 5. Be that well, not the waterfall. Brevity is powerful. And let your breath ground you before you speak instant confidence boost. Oh, and that great phrase for family stuff, I'm learning too. It de-escalates.
It really does. You know, the source material leaves us with this really profound idea. The power to change everything, relationships, career, perception, isn't hidden in some complex system.
No, it's right there. It's literally in the very next word that comes out of your mouth. That's where the change starts.
That is quite a thought to sit with. So, as you leave this deep dive, here's the challenge. What if, for just the next 24 hours, you consciously chose words that only reflected your highest self, your most respectful, kindest, most authoritative self? What differences would you actually see in how people respond to you? The power is yours right now.